Hi guys, Roxanne here from Tiny Home Living. It's a beautiful sunny day. Most of that nasty snow that we got has melted and of course made everything mucky and muddy again. But I'm actually going to use the Clasica Lacunza wood stove to make some more bread again today. So I think I'm just going to concentrate on that today. Chris had to go to town, and what we're doing is making our own bread now, so that's one thing that we don't need to go to town for. I figured out it costs me about 85 cents a loaf, and that's for a loaf that weighs a lot more too, so it's not really comparing apples to apples. But anyway, 85 cents a loaf as opposed to about $3. And of course, I think it's better for us to, well, Chris eats the bread. I don't really eat bread. But anyway, I'm gonna get started making some bread today and cook it in the wood stove. So before I get started, I just want to ask you to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share this video with your family and friends. We sure appreciate the support. So let's get started. I've got a bunch of my stuff ready here. I'm going to make 2 batches of 2 loaves because my mixer will make 2 loaves at a time. So I've told Chris to let me know when he gets down to 1 loaf, and then I'll make some fresh bread. That way we don't have too much piled up in the freezer either. So I've got my shortening melted, my milk scalded. You'll remember I'm using eggs to cut down on the milk because I have such an abundance of eggs, and again, that's one ingredient we don't have to buy. So saves a little bit of money that way. But anyway, let's get started. I've got my little assembly line ready here, and I want to get these out in the tiny house to rise. So you can see my yeast is almost ready. In previous videos you'll remember it started bubbling over, so I put a little saucer underneath it this time. I've got my flour, sugar, salt in here. I put the shortening in with the scalded milk. I've got some oil in my bowl, ready to put the dough in. And I am doing the egg version like I mentioned before. So I think I'm pretty much ready to mix this all together. And then I think I'm actually going to clean the countertop off out in the tiny house too, so it's easier to roll the loaves out. If I'm going to have it rise out there, I might as well just take it out of the bowls, roll it out, put it in the pans out there, and let it rise for the second time. I'm finding it a little, like I said, my rolling pin is so huge. I really don't want to buy another one, a small one, just because of this. But it is difficult to roll the dough out on this countertop. So I've got a little more space out there. So let's get this show on the road. Now, while the first 2 loaves are mixing in the mixer, I am going to get my second batch of milk scalding, so that I can get all 4 of these loaves out there rising at the same time. Now I'm starting my second batch, so I just wanted to remind people, I'm putting 2 teaspoons, it says to put the sugar in with the flour. I'm putting, tablespoons, 2 tablespoons in with the flour, and what I'm doing is putting 1 tablespoon in with the yeast to get it activated quicker. So I'm getting ready to do my second batch. I've got the 4 cups of flour in here to start. I'm going to put my 3 tablespoons of shortening in with the scalded milk, and I'm going to get my yeast started for the second. I was trying to get the temperature right to activate the yeast. It can't be too hot and it can't be too cold. So just been trying to get it right. I've got the first 2 loaves already in there. I've got the oil in the bowl for the second one, and I'm going to get started mixing this second batch. And I'm just going to dump my second batch of milk and shortening in here. I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier, I always break my eggs, and most people do that have fresh eggs at home. Break your eggs into a glass to make sure that you don't have a bad one. Sometimes they'll have clots, sometimes there'll be just little things you want to pick out of them, but sometimes you will actually get a rotten egg. I got one a couple of weeks ago, and it doesn't happen very often, but that time I did break it into the pan with the other eggs and I had to throw everything out. So I always break my eggs one at a time into a glass just to make sure they're okay, and then I'll add them to the bread. My second batch of yeast is ready, so I'm going to combine all this stuff and get my second batch into the bowl. So I've got the countertops all cleaned off out here, but Chris is thinking he might want to put some seed trays along here. So I can always use the countertop over here to roll my dough, and I think we're going to put some seeds in trays today. Now, doesn't that look beautiful? This was the first one, but you can't even tell. This one's actually bigger, and this was the first one. So, interesting. Anyway, I'm going to get this divided up and put in loaves to rise again for another hour. I'm just keeping the wood stove on low. I'm just putting one log on at a time to keep it going, and then when I am ready to put these in the oven in an hour, then I'll stoke it up really hot to get the temperature up to what I need. Again, this is a learning experience for me. Now I'm just about to bring a plate out, but just gonna divide this up. See how many grams it weighs. I cleaned it off, so 1723, so I need the numbers in my head to figure that out. 1723, so 1600 is 8, so 850, 860-ish. One loaf. Wow, that's 876, so that's pretty darn good. Super. Those two ready. This guy over here. Now, I'm not spraying those pans because they are non-stick. And I've got to get my melted butter to put on top of them before I put them in the oven. I have to remember to do that too. You can use shortening too. But I'm so happy to have this space to roll these out because it's so hard with this big rolling pin. I mean, this is the width of the cabinet, so the other one I keep hitting the stove and everything else, whereas this gives me a nice clear space to work with. Oops, guess I didn't need that much. The wind came up and blew dirt all over me. It was all on my face, and so there might be a little extra fiber in this bread. Just never know. Part of living in the country. Yeah, I guess I should have put flour on the counter because this is making it a little bit too slippery. So you're wanting to roll out the bubbles. You can see, see if you can see on the camera, but you can see it's right full of bubbles. So that's why you get big holes in your bread. So I'm just gonna roll this up. Hopefully it'll stick enough. I think I should have not put the flour on the counter because the oil, I pinch off the ends, pinch off the seam. I rolled it a little too big maybe. Doesn't matter. Second one. I see what I'm seeing there. It's the little specks are from the pink Himalayan salt. So it might not be the fiber from the wind blowing dirt all over me. This one, the short end is down there, so I think I'll roll it this way. Okay, and then pinch this together. This part's pretty quick and easy. And then because you got so many seams here, put this down with your hands, flatten it out, and then fold it underneath. Stuck to the pan a little bit, so I might have waited a little too long. It's a little crusty on the side that was facing up, even though it had oil on it. Okay, let's see what we got for a weight for this one. 1737. Oh, there's the beauty of weighing your ingredients. Both batches were 1,737 grams. Like I said, I got into the habit of doing that. So what did I say? 860. So this one is too big. 857. Good enough for me. This one, now it's just a little bit oily, but nothing's sticking to my hands, so I shouldn't have put flour on the counter for that first one. It's not sticking to the counter at all. I'm basically just trying to get some of the wrinkles and get it smoothed out a little bit so it's easier to roll out, and it'll stick together better too. Because that little bit of stickiness, not enough to stick to my hands though, so that's great. It's bouncing back quite a bit, so you can hear the bubbles popping when I roll it. So again, pinch the seams where you roll it up. You do this when you're making cinnamon buns or anything bread-ish. Fold that over. And one more. So you can see how, I mean, using the machine, like I said, makes it so quick and easy to make bread. So this is basically going to be the routine now. When Chris gets down to one loaf of bread, he sets up a flare, sends up a flare, and whip up 4 loaves of bread. You can hear all the bubbles popping in this too. So that's good. That means the yeast is doing really good, and hopefully the bubbles will keep growing when we put it in the pans, because of course that's what's going to make the bread rise. Just sticky enough to hopefully make it stay together and not have huge bubbles in the bread. Not that it matters really anyway if there's bubbles in your bread, but the last batch, I mean, it was pretty much perfect. It didn't rise as much as my bread did many years ago, but again, I think it makes a difference if you're using fresh yeast or not. And I'm not throwing this yeast away. It's activating, so I'm going to use it. Another one of my saved jars that I just keep flour handy for rolling stuff. So I'm just going to cover these loaves up over here again in the sunshine where they're nice and warm and see what they look like in an hour. Now these loaves of bread have risen for an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and put my melted shortening on top. You can use butter or shortening, either one. I don't think they've risen as much as I wanted them to, or as much as last time. But I'm going to put this on, see if they rise anymore or not. Like I always say, it's going to get eaten anyway, isn't it? And then I also put this on after it comes, as soon as it comes out of the oven. And that keeps the loaf from being really crusty. Now some people love their crusty bread. I don't. So I put the butter or shortening on it as soon as it comes out of the oven. I like a nice soft crust. This little glass pot was in my mum's house too when I cleaned it out, so of course I kept it, and it's great for stuff like this. That's done, and I think these are pretty much ready to go in the oven. Now, it's at 425 degrees, which was what I needed. Just a note, Chris had pushed it in, but not all the way. So it was getting up to a certain temperature, but not high enough for the bread. So again, another learning thing. You know, if I need 350 or 375, I'll probably keep that halfway open, because that seemed to be keeping it right at that point. When I realized it wasn't pushed all the way in, I pushed it in and it heated up pretty quickly. So I'm going to get this bread put in the oven as quick as I can. I think I'm going to put the rack down. I put it up so Chris could get that big frying pan in, but I think I'm going to put it down because I don't know if you saw the other video, my bread burned on top. So this seems to need to be down lower. Okay, bread in the oven. Sure looks like it's done. Yeah. Alrighty. So again, they're a little dark on the top, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and put the shortening on top. I melted it on the corner of the stove there, and like I said, sometimes I do butter, sometimes I just do the shortening. It really doesn't matter. It's just, like I said, I don't like crusty loaves. Lots of people do, not me. And these are dark pans, so I actually probably should put them on a rack to cool. Maybe I don't have one out here, of course, because I don't have all my stuff out here. So I might just put them on some of the cork trivets that I have. I went to take those out of the oven and they look a little burnt on the top, but they are not quite cooked on the bottom. So they were supposed to take maybe another 5 minutes anyway. So I put them back in, but I put this rack in the middle. So I put 2 up at the top and 2 at the bottom. I'm going to give them a little bit more time. So you can see how perfect this loaf is on the bottom. It sounds very hollow, which is good. It's a little darker still than I'd like it on the top. I think what I might try next time is what I do with my pies. When I put them in the oven, I put tin foil on until they're, you know, about half cooked, and then take it off when I want them to start browning on top. So I think I might try that with the bread. Again, like I said, this is a learning experience getting used to using this stove. And either way, I just love it. So again, another day done. I am tired out. My ankles kill me from walking up and down these skids, getting in and out. But that's it for today. Another really good day. Really happy with that bread, and it smells absolutely wonderful in here. So again, another day using my beautiful wood cook stove, Clasica Lacunza. I just love this stove. So, done for the day. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share this video with your family and friends. And we'll see you next time.